All right, everybody, welcome to the 6th annual informational seminar or webinar for LEAP. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our speakers introduce themselves. Then they're going to go off camera. Lila and I will speak for a couple minutes. So here are the rules. We definitely want you to be interactive. If you have questions, please do not put them in the chat. Put them in the Q&A. And we will either answer them later or some of them, some of our fellows might answer you. And if they do, that will be great. All right. So Q&A for questions, but chat for anything else. Okay. So let me start with Lavender.
Hi everyone, I'm Lavender. I'm in the Cohort 6 LEAP Fellows, and I graduated from UC Berkeley in 2023. And yeah.
I'm just going to have you guys popcorn it.
I'll popcorn it to Aaron.
Oh, thank you, Lavender. Hi everyone. My name is Aaron Oculto. My pronouns are he, him, and I am I went to Berkeley as well. Graduated in class of 2024, and alongside Lavender, I'm also part of the Cohort 6, specifically in the NorCal chapter. So pleasure to meet you guys. I'll popcorn to August.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is August Jimenez. I'm part of the Cohort 6. I see there are some fellow banana slugs in the chat. Go UC Santa Cruz. I graduated there a few years ago and got my master's at Columbia. And yeah, I'll pass it over to Ari.
Hi everyone, my name is Ari. I am also a Cohort 6 fellow in the SoCal chapter. I graduated from the University of Southern California, so fight on if there's any Trojans in here, in 2019. And yeah, hey. And I'm going to pass it to Jennifer.
Thank you, Ari. Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Perez. I'm from Cohort 5. I graduated from UCLA in 2020, and I'm starting Loyola Law School in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. I'm
Yay!
happy to be here.
That's my alma mater. So excited. Okay, Lila.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lila Mendoza. I am the program coordinator for LEAP. I do not have a background in law. However, I'm very passionate about education and I worked in it for many, many years, although I do work at a law firm now. And I will hand it back to Cindy now.
Great, thank you. And thank you everybody for putting in all your where you went to school. I love it. So what we're going to do, we're going to have the fellows go off camera and Lila and I will just kind of start explaining. Hopefully we're going to answer all your questions. So if you have any questions at the end, we will make time to answer them, but I'm hoping that we cover everything. So who are we? Let me first get Lila and the pretty PowerPoint. Okay. So who are we? We're going to talk about who we are, what we do, the application timeline, etc. So I'm the founder. I am a lifelong public servant. I was a deputy attorney general my entire career. So yes, I worked for Kamala Harris at one point. And I prosecuted doctors. I really liked what I did. So I highly recommend government. And when I retired, I decided I didn't want to just sit around and do nothing. Clearly, that is not the case. I am doing a lot. So I developed LEAP, and I developed it in 2019, and then in 2020 we started. And of course, what happened in 2020? Yeah, the pandemic. That was our first year. We have been around though for 6 years. We have done 5 admission cycles. So the stuff that we're going to tell you tonight and during LEAP is pretty data driven. We're very data driven, and it's based on a lot of experience. We have 3 chapters, but 2 geographic. So we have NorCal chapter, SoCal chapter, and MTO. MTO just means that it's Munger, Tolles, Olson. Those fellows, they'll be in Southern California. It just means that they have an attorney mentor that works at MTO. We are all about diversifying the legal profession. We are the least diversified, and given the political climate, it seems like it's getting worse. And how do we do this? We help students with their application process to get into law school. Okay, Lila, let's see, next slide. Okay, so how do we do this? We have a very robust, comprehensive program. And you're going to hear about all the different components right now from our different fellows. I will say this, and Lila, feel free to join in when you want. We are very structured. So if you're not a structured person, definitely do not apply to LEAP. And the reason why we're structured is we have found that if we don't give structure, then this is just not going to work. We promise you that we're going to help you get into law school. And then, of course, you have to promise back that you're going to do the work that we ask you to do. So we have monthly workshops. We have LSAT prep. You get an attorney and a student mentor. We have an amazing community. And then we have our pre-L boot camp, which I can tell you no other diversity pipeline program has this. For sure in California, but maybe in the country, where we have a bridge program. Once you're accepted to law school, you go to our pre-L boot camp, and that helps get you prepared for that first day of law school. I'm a first-gen student. I knew no lawyers. When I went to orientation at Loyola, I knew nothing about law school. So this pre-L boot camp is to help our fellows feel somewhat prepared for that first day of law school. So let's bring on Lavender. She is going to talk about our monthly workshops.
Thank you, Cindy. So our monthly workshops are once a month in person, and they're usually all day from around 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And in the NorCal chapter, each workshop is hosted at a different law school or law firm across the Bay Area. So, for example, we've met at Stanford, Berkeley Law. We've met at Alston and Bird Law Firm or Cooley, and just everywhere around the Bay. So that's been really exciting. And one of the cool parts about the NorCal chapter this year is being able to visit the different law firms, because we can really envision ourselves in those spaces maybe a few months or even years from now. So it's kind of motivating to that encourages us to work even harder. And so for the workshops, we have several panel discussions throughout the day on a range of topics, from specific legal practice areas, admissions panels. We'll have application workshops, or even different skill building exercises. And what I love most about the workshops is that we get to learn about so many different areas of law that maybe we didn't know about before, or we just weren't too knowledgeable on. So for example, we've had attorneys from big law, from public interest, in-house, child advocacy, just so many different areas of law. And so it's been really great to kind of hear what a day-to-day looks like for those attorneys, what they love most about the area of law they practice, and even how to break into those fields for someone who may be interested in going into that. And also we have the opportunity to ask these attorneys and panelists questions and really build out our network, because they really encourage us to connect with them and network with them outside of the workshops. So for example, I had a coffee chat with one of the attorneys who came to one of our panels about a while back, and it was really great. They were super sweet, and they were just so supportive and willing to support us on our journey, even beyond. So, and I consider myself a very shy person, so I really love how LEAP kind of opens that door to network and for communication with these attorneys, and kind of helps us build those networking skills before we even get into law school. So other topics we'll cover, we'll have admissions panels. So we'll have dean and director of admissions from different law schools come, and they'll kind of give us the insider scoop on how to craft a really strong application so that we know what admissions readers are really looking for, and really help us stand out on our application applications. We've had Dean of Admissions from Stanford, Berkeley, Loyola, McGeorge, UCLA, and just so many others. So that's been really awesome and really inspiring to hear from these amazing panelists. And then we'll also have application workshops. So we'll have workshops on workshops on how to build and craft a strong personal or diversity statement. We'll cover topics such as how to reach out to your professors for letters of rec and just so many helpful things and so much helpful information and knowledge that maybe you wouldn't have had access to beforehand. It's just, really great to have these insider tips, and Leap really does a great job of really supporting us on this journey from the beginning till the very end. And we'll also cover other supportive topics. So like I mentioned, different skill building exercises. So how to network, how to be successful at legal interviews, boosting test confidence, and others are just some of the topics we've covered. So it's really extensive and just really great, helpful information to know before law school and even information to know when you get into law school. And one of my favorite parts about the workshop is really the opportunity to spend time with my cohort. I think the friendships are one of the strongest and best parts about LEAP, but I just love how at the workshops, because it's an all-day thing, you really grow close with the people in your cohort, and you get to spend a lot of time with these folks and get to know them on a deeper level. And even after the workshop, sometimes we'll have mixers where our law student mentors might come, and even some of the attorneys from the panel discussion. So it's another opportunity to network and just build your relationship with everyone who's involved with LEAP. So it's just really great, and it's just a really great supportive community as well. So those are just some of my highlights from the workshops at LEAP.
Lavender, I'm curious, who was the attorney that you did the coffee meet with?
I met with Evieri.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
Oh my gosh. Was it on Zoom? Because you're up north, right? So
Yeah, it was on Zoom, but she was so responsive. Like she reached out to me first actually, and then we like set up a coffee chat, and she was just so sweet.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, thank you. That was a super good summary. So now we're going to have what for some people might consider the most important part of LEAP, is the LSAT prep. So Ari.
Hi everyone. Okay, so the LSAT. Raise your hand if you're afraid of the LSAT. It's funny because I can't see you. No.
There's, oh my God, yes, they are totally.
Are you guys active in the chat? No, but actually don't be scared. So for those who may not know yet, so the LSAT, the law school admissions test, is the standardized test that is required for admissions to most law schools in the US and Canada. It's multi-section, it's multiple choice, and it consists of 4 sections: logical reasoning and reading comprehension, 3 scored, 1 experimental. It is one of the most important aspects of your law school application. That is true. I think depending on, your specifics as an applicant, whether you're non-traditional like myself, whether your GPA is like maybe below the median of the school that you really, really want to go to, it is arguably the most important aspect of your application. And if you've spent any time, lurking in the trenches of our LSAT on Reddit, you've probably read a lot of horror stories. First, get off Reddit. 2, I'm not gonna lie to you, it is not easy. The test is not a cakewalk. It takes hours upon hours of commitment and dedication. But I am also here to tell you that as a LEAP fellow, you will have access to every tool that you need to achieve your highest score. So the tutoring platform that LEAP provides access to at no cost to you, which is amazing. Thank you, Cindy, is LSAT Lab. I personally, I was self-studying before I became a LEAP fellow, and I cycled through basically every available LSAT test prep company available, from Seven Sage to PowerScore, LSAT Demon, Blueprint. I tried it all, and LSAT Lab is, I think, by far responsible for my biggest leap, my biggest leap, or my most progress, or the most progress that I've made in recent months. So it's a months long, very meticulously crafted program that walks you through every question type, every strategy, and every approach that you need to feel confident on your test day. And the LSAT Lab program also offers, like the platform also offers very detailed and personalized analytics. So if anyone has used the Seven Sage platform, it will probably feel kind of familiar. But the great thing about the analytics is that as you interact more with the platform, your prep can basically become as targeted as you need it to be. So our cohort started the program back in late February. I think our first class was the last week of February, with the end goal of, taking the LSAT actually this August and September. So we're in crunch time. And basically every week since then, we've had weekly classes on Sunday with an LSAT Lab instructor. This year, it's typically been Patrick, who is fantastic, and so funny and so kind. But you might also have classes with Laura, or you'll definitely come across Laura in office hours, which LSAT Lab also offers for us separate from classes. Um, so in between classes, we have weekly assignments and practice tests and problem sets. There's also, as we get more into doing practice tests, there's also exam review that we take. Those are typically on Saturday and they last 2 hours. In addition to that, LEAP also provides us access to a course called LR Boost with Mina Perone, who is just incredible. I promised to not talk too, I'm trying not to talk too much about how much I love everything about all of our instructors. But Mina's a Harvard Law grad, and now she has this LR prep company, and she loves to teach logical reasoning. So right now we have classes that are on Thursday evenings, and those last for about 2 hours. She's incredible, a fantastic teacher, and I think that as a supplement to the LSAT Lab curriculum is just, again, an amazing foundation and everything that you need in order to achieve your highest score on test day, provided that you're willing to put in the work, which is ultimately what it comes down to. It is a lot. It is a lot. It is a commitment. Like, I don't know if anyone here has read like 1,400 hours. Basically, that's what studying for the LSAT is like. If you put in the time, you will 100% see the results. And take my word for it, like the work is more than worth it. I think LEAP, gladly gives us access to so many resources, and these instructors gladly give us hours upon hours of their time because everyone understands the degree to which a great LSAT score can really change the shape of your application, and so actually change your life depending on what school you're able to get into based on that score. And everyone that runs this program and volunteers with this program is so deeply invested in your success. So LSAT scary, TLDR, but as a LEAP fellow, don't be afraid. Cindy, is there anything else I should touch on?
The only thing I want to add, but I don't actually know. I don't want to scare people away. Never mind. I was going to talk about how often you have classes, but for cohort 6, we started the earliest in terms of their LSAT prep. So cohort 1 did not start till June. So they had a class for a couple months and then they took the August or September LSAT. Cohort 2 might have started a little earlier than June. We have been iterating each year based on the feedback from the fellows, and I think we have it almost perfect now where they're going to be starting in March. So you would, if you are, oh, you're having troubles hearing me? Shoot. If you are selected as a LEAP fellow, I just completely lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh, I hate it when I do that. Okay, I'm going to go on. But thank you, Ari. That was great. By the way, I'm seeing some of you say that you just took the LSAT or you're taking it, you know, in the next couple of days. I do want to make sure, and Lila will cover this, if you're applying to law school this year, you won't be applying to LEAP. So this is only for students who want to apply to law school next year, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, next is Aaron, who is going to talk about mentorship.
All right. Thank you so much, Cindy. Guys, first of all, the mentors, amazing. TLDR, amazing. So at the start of the program, every fellow is basically matched with both an attorney mentor and a law student mentor. The former, being the attorney mentor, is sort of our main point of contact in terms of just getting a perspective into what the legal field looks like. You know, they're directly assigned to us. Speaking from personal experience, I have the pleasure of sharing two attorney mentors with a fellow, and we, you know, just get another perspective as to like with our application materials, which leads me into my next point. The attorney mentors assist us with certain components of the application process for law school. So being personal statement, perhaps and any other optional essays that you might run into, and more specifically our resume too, which are vital components that you're going to need to submit to schools. And on the other side, we have a law student mentor who sort of gives us insight into what it is like being in law school right now. Often enough, they're either a 1L or a 2L at their law school. And the unique part about this too is that the law student mentors, at least the majority of them, I think if not all of them, are former fellows with LEAP. You know, they're former people who were in either cohort 5, cohort 4. And it's really, really assuring and also very encouraging because you know, being in this whole very much new and very extensive process, I think it can be hard at times to you can feel very, very trapped in the current moment. And seeing how Leap has been able to propel people's legal careers through in being into law school, it really sort of assures you that the work is now and you can do as much as you can right now to ensure that you can get to where they are. And yeah, and having that community to just kind of relate to in terms of like the you know what came with the amount of hours and time that you spent studying for the LSAT, preparing your materials, and also going to these amazing workshops where you get to meet different attorneys across different industries. It's really just like assuring, and you get that interpersonal connection and that deep bond, and you kind of have that relatability element to it. But for the attorney mentors, not only do they help with the application materials, but I would just really want to reiterate that they give a lot of insight into what the legal world is like. My attorneys specifically are both working in-house at a major tech company right now, and that has meant a lot for me in terms of understanding what it's like to work in-house and at the same time the sort of intersection between tech and law, which was prior to the fellowship, I had no idea what that was like. And, you know, being able to be curious and ask questions and know that there isn't really any shame and there's no such thing as a dumb question, especially coming from them, it's very like assuring and it kind of is integral in terms of shaping what I want to practice in the future, what I want to do, and so forth. But altogether, I think that the thing that I love about the mentors the most is that they keep us grounded throughout this entire law school admissions process. I know that like this entire process can seem very intimidating and very much hard to see the big picture, especially if you're trapped in the moment of either studying for the LSAT, preparing for your application materials. It feels like a lot. And I think the mentors, what they do best is that they serve as a real reminder of like what our careers can look like. These mentors can basically shape what the law means to us. And I think, for me at least, it has kind of shaped how and what law can do for me. And, you know, I think just going and reiterating that, being able to be curious and ask questions and to even go beyond law and just sort of be curious about what it's like to be a practicing attorney and also balancing, a manageable and very much healthy work and life balance. I think that these are some questions that very much eluded me when I first was considering law school. And this program has really helped with the demystifying that. And I'm very, very grateful for the mentors. And yeah, so I think that's something that I think every person going into this program should really, really keep in mind when, traversing. So yeah. Oh, Cindy, I think
You're muted.
I make so much fun of people who do that, and now I just was muted. Aaron, when are you taking the LSAT?
in August, which you might be wondering when in August, on Saturday.
On Saturday, okay. And Lavender, when are you taking it?
I'm also taking it on Saturday.
Okay. August?
I'm taking it tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And Ari?
Hi. Am I
Ari
supposed to
took
tell
it
the truth?
already.
I took the LSAT in June, and I will be taking it again in September.
Yes, they just told me recently about June. So we'll talk about that once you get into LEAP when you should be taking it. But I'm so not worried about Ari. Okay, thank you, Aaron, for that. So next is August, and don't forget, everybody, please put the questions in the Q&A, not in the chat. Next is August to talk about community.
Hi, everyone. So, as the other fellows have mentioned, LEAP is very much focused on building a community, and it has for the past 5 other fellows, the cohorts, right? And especially if you're coming from a first generation background, for most of us, we are the first in our family pursuing this career. And so by default, we're almost like deer in blind headlights. We don't know where to go. We don't know how to get there. But LEAP really does help guide you not only through the application process, but also throughout your legal career. I've had the pleasure of being able to also be a donor for LEAP. And so what that means is I've also been able to see fellows from cohorts 1 and 2 actually graduate from law school. And some of them have mentioned how LEAP has helped them even through like financial, is something that I remember from that virtual graduation. And I think it's really admirable that Cindy had a vision because she had that lived experience and she saw the need. And I think really that's really monumental when you're trying to apply to law school, knowing that someone who comes from a similar experience to you has been able to sort of build this momentum and allow you to connect with other people that come from similar backgrounds. And that's why it's so important if you succeed in mentorship, this program is meant for you because it's leading you to succeed not only by allowing you to network with other like-minded folks, but also creating lifelong friendships, right? In terms of community with LEAP, you're separated sort of by SoCal chapters and NorCal chapters, but also within your chapters, you have cohorts, right? So you have more like micro level cohorts where it's just maybe 4 fellows, 3 fellows, sometimes 5. And that's really where you build those that sense of camaraderie, especially for myself. I'm a full-time fellow, so I work with LA County, and Cindy was not joking when she said that this fellowship is very challenging, especially when you're going to start studying. And, it's a commitment to show up full time and then have to study after you're working full time. Like, I've never been challenged like this. And I went to a master's. I got my master's already, and I thought that was hard. But this working and doing part time, like, I will express, if you are not able to manage your time appropriately, you might fall behind and this might not be as helpful as you might think it is. I also want to mention that a part of LEAP is being able to give back to your community, right? So we're in cohort 6, and I remember being in your shoes last summer and attending this webinar and thinking, wow, like all these fellows are really inspiring. And so being able to speak about my experiences now, a year later, it's almost full circle, especially taking my LSAT tomorrow. And I could have not done that without the support of Lila, Cindy, the fellows, the mentors, just the words of encouragement that they've been able to provide at our monthly workshops. These are folks that come from backgrounds similar to yours, so it makes the application less isolating. And I think for those who are admitted, make sure that you're encouraging yourself to give back, because really what this is about is passing the baton onto the next fellows that come after you. And so if you are admitted, I would encourage you all to become donors, because it is important to give back to the community that is helping you achieve your dreams. Really, it's about sustainability. So yeah, I'm really excited. If any of you want to connect, I'll drop my LinkedIn and we can go from there. But yeah, best of luck on the application.
Thanks, August. And it is full circle, right? You were here just a year ago. And August, by the way, is one of our few fellows who's a monthly donor. And he became a monthly donor the minute he became a fellow. It is
Yeah.
so cool. So August, thank you so much.
Of
I love
course.
that. Okay, last but not least is Jennifer to talk about Pre-L boot camp. Uh-oh, Jennifer?
Yes, sorry, Cindy, I was having trouble turning on my camera. But yes, thank you for passing it on to me. Honestly, going through the fellowship and working full-time was really demanding and pretty difficult. And so I completely forgot about our pre-L boot camp until closer to the end of our fellowship. Thankfully though, this is something that is offered by LEAP. So the law school application process is pretty overwhelming and a big time commitment. So when I submitted my applications, I was like done, and I felt a huge relief, but I felt like pretty burnt out. And so I'm grateful that we had the pre-L bootcamp, because it reminded me that there were still a lot of things that needed to be done after the applications were submitted. The pre-L bootcamp pretty much starts in January of after the year that you submit your applications. So you all would be submitting your applications in the fall of 2026, and the pre-L bootcamp would begin in January or the beginning of 2027. Pre-L bootcamp for us consisted of monthly workshops on Saturdays for only about 2.5 hours. So it wasn't it's not much of a time commitment. And every workshop, we pretty much were guided through what the next steps would be, which for first generation students can be super overwhelming and kind of confusing. And some of the things that we covered during the pre-L boot camps were how to ask for reconsiderations of your financial aid award offers once you start getting accepted into law schools, which is something that I didn't even know was something that we can do. Ask them to increase your scholarship to your financial aid awards. We also covered being able to draft and submit letters of interest to schools that you're waitlisted to. And then as the pre-L bootcamp progressed, we also had the opportunity to speak to current law school students. Some of them might even be attending the schools that you're interested in. And so we had the opportunity and the privilege to speak to these students and ask them about what to expect before we go into our 1L years. And for example, like I didn't know what Quimby was, and that's something that's really helpful for law school students to be able to get summaries of cases that we'll have to be reading. And all of these things, or even drafting or putting together a law school list of things that you'll need before you start. We were able to ask these questions to some of the students and see what was helpful for them. And also just to begin forming those connections with current students at the schools that you're interested in attending. We also had the opportunity to learn how to read and dissect a case before attending law school. So the first time that I'll read, analyze, and dissect a case won't be my first day of law school, and I'm not gonna feel like super blindsided, because we already covered this in super extensively in the pre-op bootcamp workshops. There were a lot of things that we covered that really are helping me, especially now that I'm starting in less than 2 weeks, my 1L year. I feel a lot more prepared than I would have if I didn't have the pre-op bootcamp. As a first generation college student, a lot of the times I feel like I'm going into these spaces not 100% prepared, and kind of like I'll figure it out when I get there, because it's just can be really confusing. But this is one of the few times of my life that I feel like I'm going into this prepared, knowing what to expect, and making sure that I'm dotting all my I's and crossing all my T's. So those are just some of the things that we get to go through in the pre-op bootcamp. And the very last workshop, which was actually one of my favorite workshops, was the family day, where we had the opportunity to bring on our family and hear from other law school students and their families about the demand of being a law school student, how to best support us, which community, especially in these times, is super, super important, and staying connected with your family. I know it's going to be super difficult, but having the opportunity to hear from students and families about what worked best for them and how to best support us was super helpful. But yes, that's pre-op bootcamp. And just to reiterate what Cindy said, I haven't heard of any other programs that have something like this. So if you're thinking about applying or not too sure, I would really encourage you to apply, because pre-op bootcamp really has made me feel so different going into my 1L year.
Thanks, Jennifer. Okay, Lila, let's talk about the application timeline.
Absolutely. So everyone, I know you're all jazzed up now. You're like, oh my God, this program sounds amazing. How do I apply? What are the next steps? I'm here to answer all those questions. So the application will actually be released until September. So you're going to have to be patient. We're going to have you hang tight for a bit. We like to build up the suspense. So it'll be available during the month of September. And then we do close the application deadline. Actually, Cindy, will the application deadline change this year, or is it still September 29th?
Yeah, I think it's still, let me make sure. And it'll be on our website, by the way. You'll have
Yes.
to be on our website.
So that QR code that you see up there, if you scan it, it takes you right to our website. So that's where you'll find the application available.
But not yet. Yes, it'll be due the 29th. I want to reiterate right now, though, and explain this. Please do not wait until the 29th. I can tell you, for the last couple of years, we probably got, I don't think I'm exaggerating, 200 applications the last 24 hours. Here's the problem. We use Google. We use this Google program. The applications close at noon on the 29th. So I would write on your calendar the 27th or the 28th, because what happens is when you and you're gonna upload your stuff online to our website, and you will get an automatic email that tells you, we received your application, thank you very much. For some reason, after 100 submissions, Google just stopped sending those emails. I don't know why, nothing I can do. And what happens then is you all email us meaning me, on that last day to say, I know it's 11:59. I just submitted my application. Did you get it? Because I didn't get an email. We will not be answering any of those emails. We will not be responding to those. So please don't wait, even though, yes, it's due the 29th. And if you apply by the 29th, before noon, we will accept it. But you may not know that we got it, and we're not going to be answering any emails about it. So I would
And I
recommend,
want
go ahead.
And I just want to emphasize, like, that is a hard deadline. If you submit at 12:01, I'm so sorry, that will not be considered out of just fairness for everybody else who has met that deadline. And so this is kind of the first step in holding you accountable and, emphasizing the importance of discipline. And this is just the first step to many things that will start to ingrain in you in terms of, again, making sure your time management skills are there and holding you to that. Anything to add before I move on to October interviews?
No.
Okay. So in October, should you be invited to interview, that is when we will notify you. If you do not make it to that round, we will also reach out to you. We do not ghost. We will let you know. Thank you for applying. If you are also not admitted, we do this pretty awesome thing. I think it's pretty awesome, where we share other programs that may also still be taking applications that are similar to LEAP, their pipeline programs. They may differ in structure. Obviously, we're very cool and very unique. And so they might be completely virtual, or they might be just different in structure, right? The resources that they may offer may differ, but they're still really good programs that we would encourage you to consider. And so we will give you that. So we don't want to leave you empty-handed. But if you do make it to the interviews, that will take place in October. And then in November, that is when we release all the admission decisions. We try to do it right before the fall break, so around Thanksgiving. We do our best to try to do that. And then if you are accepted into the program in December, this is one of the few virtual components, we will host a virtual orientation. That is when we give you the rundown of what are the expectations, what are we asking of you, what are we willing to promise you, and then at that point you decide whether this program is for you, right? So you still have an opportunity after being admitted to decide, you know what, this may or may not be the right time for me, and so I really need to think about this. And we want you to take it seriously, right? When you are extended this offer after you go through orientation, we really want you to sit with it and decide if this is the right program for you and if this is the right time for you. Both of those things need to be in alignment for you to maximize all the resources that LEAP has to offer. And so what are the application components? What exactly are we asking of you? It'll have basic demographic information, name, address, all that good stuff. We will have short response questions, and we really want you to answer those thoroughly, really think about them. It's really sad when someone just gives us a sentence and it's like, really, think about this. The way that I worked in admissions for a long time, and the way that we talk about applications is it a missed opportunity, or is it something that you've taken advantage, right? And so a positive highlight. And so if you have this space to tell us about yourself and you're not using it, that's a missed opportunity, right? I'm not going to call you to ask you these additional questions that I may have. And so you want to maximize every part of this application as much as possible. We will also, within the short responses, there will be one at the end that asks, do you have any additional information that you'd like us to know? What could that box be used for? It could be used for any number of things. One, if you want to provide additional context for parts of your application that maybe could leave us with some questions, this is the place to address them, right? So let's say you have low grades in a particular semester and you want us to know why that happened. That's a great place to do it. I actually really love when someone does that, because I'm not left guessing, I'm not left wondering, I'm not going to come up with a story about what happened to you or why that dip in grades happened. I would love it if you addressed it head on. And so we really, really appreciate when students do that. If let's say there's some additional information that maybe the short response questions aren't really tackling, but it really demonstrates your passion for why you want to pursue law or why you want to be a part of LEAP, that's a great place to add that information. And so really maximize all parts of this application as to the best of your abilities. Now, don't use it as a redundant space, that additional comments box. You don't have to copy paste what you've already written. We will already have read it, so no need to do that. We will ask you for copies of your transcripts. These are not official copies. It could literally be just through your student portal. You download, that's it. That's great. For those of you who maybe have attended multiple institutions, whether it's community college and then you transferred over, please attach copies of both separately. I know that as transfer students, again, I worked in admissions for a long time, you get the institution that you transfer to has the courses listed on there. Yes, it does, but it doesn't list your GPA. And so I want to be able to see those GPAs separately. So I would like for you to attach both your community college transcripts, four-year transcripts. You can also attach graduate transcripts if you've attended graduate school, but you don't need to. That's not really something so I actually forget that I said that. We will not ask you for your graduate transcripts. So just undergraduate, because that's really what LSAC is going to be looking for, and that's how they calculate your GPA. So it gives us a sense of where you stand. If you've attended multiple four-year institutions, we want that as well, right? So just anything pertaining to your undergraduate education, please include them as separate transcripts. This will all be one PDF though. This entire application, you're not uploading multiple components. You're going to save it as one beautiful document and it'll be uploaded. Please do this because if it is not uploaded correctly, one, that's showing us that you don't pay attention to detail. Again, that's not great, especially as future attorneys. We want you to get in the habit of doing this. So please follow the instructions, read them thoroughly, and make sure you're just asking doing what we're asking of you. We will also ask you for 2 references. Many of you might be working, so you've been out of school for some time. It's okay. That's someone who is your current or former supervisor, perfectly fine. If you're in school and you have someone who's a professor and is willing to do it, someone who's a mentor, any and all of those are welcome. So we encourage you to put that in there. And this is you giving us their contact information. So it's not us asking you to add a letter of recommendation. This is just their information. Should we have additional questions, we may call them, we may contact them, and we have on occasion. So if we do have some additional questions, we will. If any of you, there's also going to be a component in the application, I should have said this earlier, where we'll ask you if you've been referred by any of our fellows or just any of our mentors or anybody from our program, whether it's our staff, our fellows, or our mentors. If you have, please put that in there. And also put how you know them, what's your connection to them, right? If it's something that maybe you saw on Instagram or TikTok, that's great. That lets us know how you're hearing about us. But if it's a very personal connection, that's really great. We will follow up with them. So just so you know, so please don't name drop and this person is like, who? Cindy who? I have no clue who that is. That also doesn't look great. So make sure it is someone that you actually know and have communicated with.
Can I just, an example? If you follow someone on Instagram and you've never met them, do not put their name. That has happened in the last couple of years, especially with a lot of our law students have really good Instagram followings. That is not a referral because we will, like Lila said, we reach out to every fellow who is mentioned on an application. We keep quite a database. And if they've never heard of you, that is just going to look, that's going to look bad. So it has to be a personal connection. And let me tell you, it does help. It is if you know someone and you're good friends and they give you a good recommendation, it helps.
Yes. And then the last piece of the application will be your resume. So regardless of whether you're a student or you've been working or you've done both, we want to see this. This just gives us a sense of what you've been involved in, especially if you have any extracurricular activities that have been aligned with law, that's always great. If you haven't, and it's because you've had to work full time and put yourself through school, please don't think that that's going to somehow be a disadvantage within your application. We're looking at you holistically, meaning we're looking at all the components of your application. This is why we have the short responses. We want to get to know who you are. And overall, we're asking for this because we want to see if you're the right fit for our program. And if we're also going to meet your needs, right? There are sometimes situations where we can tell that what the student is looking for, we're not able to provide. And so we want to be transparent about all of that as well. I do see that things are moving in the chat. I can't see any of it right now because I'm the one controlling the PowerPoint. So I will get to those questions later on. Now, what is it that we are looking for in a candidate? There are some basic selection criteria, and then we'll talk a little bit more about just characteristics and qualities that we're looking for in applicants. So you need to be at least a junior in college. And I do want to emphasize that for my juniors, we do hold you to a slightly higher standard just because you still have 2 years of school left, right? That current year and then the following year. And of course, you're going to tell us that you're ready. You're going to come in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to take on this program. As you've heard from all of our fellows, this is a big time commitment. You are essentially taking on an additional course on top of your regular schoolwork, right? You are going to be handed out assignments. You are going to be expected to meet deadlines. And the fact that you're in school doesn't excuse not meeting our deadlines, right? And so you really have to think about, is the timing of this the right moment for you? And obviously we can't answer that for you. You have to be honest with yourself. And again, that opportunity to really, if you are extended an offer, the opportunity to really sit with that comes during orientation once you learn more about us. Oh no. Here we go. Am I back? I kind of cut out for a second.
Your
I'm
face is
I'm
frozen. I
frozen.
can hear you.
That is the shock that everyone is feeling. It is personified through me. And so um, we're just going to go with my voice. Just follow the sound of my voice, everybody. So you need to be at least a junior. It's okay if you've already graduated and you're a few years out. That's not a problem. We don't have like an age restriction or age limit. Again, the standard is still the same for all of you, though, regardless of whether you're a student or a full-time employee. We want to make sure that you understand that the commitment and the requirements are still the same across the board. The minimum GPA, undergraduate GPA, is a 3.0. This really is the minimum GPA, and we want you to understand that. We need to have a baseline somewhere, and so this is it for us. You must reside in California. This does not mean you have to be a California resident, like legally a California resident. That is not what we're asking for. We just mean you physically have to be present in California throughout the duration of your fellowship. And so you can't be in a different state and then tell us you would like to commute. We tried that in the past and unfortunately it just didn't work. And so all of our fellows must be physically present in the state of California. And I'm sorry for those of you who might be out of state and you're just like, like this changes things for me. We understand. But again, we'd rather just the information now. And then we also want to make sure that you meet at least one of these diversity factors. And we know that diversity is like a very taboo word right now, but we very much are strong in our values and our commitment to diversifying the legal field, and we want to continue to use such language for as long as it's possible. And so we want you to know that none of these things, we don't see them as a hindrance. We see them as part of your resilience. We see them as part of why we need to be in these spaces. And so it's not limited to this, just so you know. So low SES is low socioeconomic background. So if you come from a low income background, that's one of the things we consider. If you're a first generation college student, if you're a student of color, if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community, and there are other factors, right? If you're system impacted, formerly homeless, undocumented, documented, if you have some type of disability, if you are a refugee, any of these things that you feel have shaped your experience and are important to why you want to pursue the law, please highlight that. We can't cover everything in a list because again, we're not confined to the spaces of the box. And so we leave it open-ended for you to add any other factors that you feel are important for us to know. Anything that you would add, Cindy, in my frozen state?
Actually, I know this is hilarious. I can't wait to see the video. What it looks like. Oh, there. We might have to take out student of color. So just because of all the stuff going on from the White House, but that's the only thing that we might be changing. So everything else is in there. And like Lila said, we might not, like, we don't have on here veteran and we don't have on here single parent. Those are things that I know shape a lot of you. So whatever it is, whatever I would say voice you have, especially if it's underrepresented, definitely talk about that. And you'll be able to fill out when it says other. Just really quick before we do questions, because there's a lot of questions and I don't know if we're going to get to all of them. So just so you know the calendar if you're selected. And by the way, if you have applied before, there is absolutely no, there's no plus or minus to reapplying. To be honest, every single year we have LEAP applicants that have applied the year before, and then this year somehow there's something different about their application and they get accepted. So I know there was a lot of questions about that. If you are accepted, you will be at, like Lila said, we have in December, let me see, virtual orientation. Okay, so that'll be virtual. Then in January, in Northern California and Southern California, we have separate welcome receptions and speed mentoring. It's really fun. It's when you get to meet the attorneys and decide, like, you write down what attorneys that resonated with you, and we might match you with them. So that's in January, and that's in person. February to September are the monthly workshops. So here's how they work, and I hope I don't confuse you. If you're in Southern California, in February, you'll be at Loyola Law School, and Northern California will be at a law firm. In March, we're going to go to Northern California. We'll be in person, probably either at a law firm at a law school. And if you're in SoCal, you're going to go to the Munger Tolles Olson, MTO, to their offices downtown. And it goes like that every other month. For SoCal, every other month, you'll either be at Loyola or at MTO. NorCal, it is kind of cool because you are at different places, but you are in person. So you'll be, when you are, so again, for February, when we're at Loyola and you're at NorCal, you're going to be in person, but you're going to be watching it on Zoom. So it's somewhat hybrid, but you can't be at home watching it. And don't even ask. There's no exceptions. We are all in person. We were very hybrid in 2023, where people were at home. No, it didn't work. So we are now completely in person. And you could hear, by the way, from the fellows, how important that in-person connection is to create those relationships with the other fellows. Okay, so
Before we take questions, can I just add a few more things?
absolutely.
So in my unseen state, again, just follow my voice, everyone. Um, this is just the selection criteria, right? But what are we looking for in terms of qualities? We want someone who is going to realistically be able to commit to this. What does that mean? That means that if you need to have conversations with your loved ones, with your job about, if you work the graveyard shift, if you work weekends or workshops take place on the weekends, right? You need to be able to have those conversations. If you know you're not in a position to take off an entire Saturday, then maybe this is not the right time for you to apply to the program, right? And we say this not because we want to sound mean, but again, you're only going to get as much out of this program as you're putting into it, right? So if you're not putting in the hours to study, if you're not putting in the time to show up to these workshops, if you're not connecting with your peers, you're going to feel like your experience is not that great because you're not maximizing it. You're not taking advantage of the resources that are at your disposal. And so we want to make sure that not only is this the right fit, but that this is the right time. And you'll hear me say that again and again. I sound like a broken record. We also want someone who's going to be able to manage their time. Now, you may not have those skills perfected all the way. That's why we also hold you accountable. And we need you to understand that it's coming from a place of love and care when we tell you you have to meet this deadline, you need to do this. In the beginning, you're going to love us. At some point when LSAT starts, you may not like us that much, but you will be very, very happy when you come out the other side and you realize, okay, all the nagging they did, all the time that I spent dedicating to studying, to these personal statements, to just applying, like it is worth it, right? And I needed someone just on my ass, apologies for the language, just on top of me telling me that, you know what, you need to do this, you need to get it done, it needs to happen by this time. And at the same time, we also will be there to support you, right? We know it's scary. Something that Cindy always says is she's been in your shoes. She knows how scary it is. She knows she has her own feelings about the LSAT. I do too. But she's actually taken the exam. So she can relate to you in ways that are so valuable. And so when she's telling you this, trust that it's not coming from a place of like, how would you know? She does know. And she did it without a program like LEAP. So imagine all the things that you can and will be able to do with a supportive community. And anyway, I'll stop there because I do want to leave time for questions.
Yeah, and along the lines of the right fit, you need to communicate with us, and you'll learn this when you become a fellow. If you're having issues about making an LSAT class, just communicate with us. So communication is important. Engagement is super important. We want this to be a two-way street, and teamwork is really important. So how you write that on your application, I'll leave to you, but those are the things that we're looking for. And we'll be able to,
Cindy,
oh, yes.
we came up with the 3 C's last year, remember? Communication, consistency, and community or collaboration, I think.
Yeah, we did.
So there we go. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, so Lila, let's look at the questions. I don't think we're going to be able to answer
Okay.
all of them, but
Okay.
we'll try, and we'll have the fellows come on if you guys want to come on screen. And yeah, so Lila, I'm not looking.
All right.
I mean,
Okay.
you know the ones that we should be answering.
Yes. Give me 1 second because I'm just taking a look. Okay. Wait, some of these were answered. Oh. No, this is a question for us. Sorry, give me 1 second, everybody.
Yeah, and by the way, if you're raising your hand, you please put your question in the Q&A. And yes, communication, consistency, and community.
What does the application consist of? We already talked about that. What are you looking for in a fellow?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, these are a lot about the application.
Yeah, because they were probably written before we did that.
Oh wait, someone said. Oh, someone did ask about how comfortable you all are in sharing your contact, your LinkedIn for people to connect with you. I don't know if you already did that in the chat. If you did,
So
then
I'm
you can
assuming
just read
they
that.
mean the fellows. So
Yes, not us.
yeah,
They don't care
yeah.
about us.
By the way, just really quick, which one of you is taking the LSAT tomorrow? August?
Yeah.
Okay, just for those of you who are still here, which by the way is almost all of you, August, I am impressed that you are here tonight when tomorrow you're taking what will be the most important test until now of your life. Like that, and then Aaron, you're Saturday?
Correct. Yes, I am.
And Lavender, when are you?
I'm also on Saturday.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Mhm.
The funny thing is, I did not look at the calendar when I figured out this webinar, because had I done that, I would not have picked August 7th probably. So yeah, that's amazing. But yeah, if you whichever one of you, like if you want to put in your email, or I think LinkedIn is probably the best way. I will say to those of you who are watching, we always tell our fellows to connect with the lawyers on LinkedIn, the lawyers who come, and then some of them do, some of them don't. So if these fellows are putting in their LinkedIn, please reach out to them because they mean it. Okay, Lila, sorry.
This one's actually for you, Cindy. Is there a downside to applying if you've been in other pre-law programs?
That is such a great question. There is no downside. We will ask you though, like if you've been in UCLA Law Fellows, we're going to ask you, why are you applying to LEAP if you were already in UCLA Law Fellows? We ask that of anyone who is in that program or in the UC Irvine program, or you wouldn't be applying if you were an SEO Catalyst because they're so similar to us. But Great question. It does not hurt, but just know that if you make it to the interview stage, which is invite only, that we'll definitely be asking you about that.
Thank you for that. And then this one is for the fellows. What was one major challenge and one benefit you each gained from the fellowship?
Let's just have, so because I'm mindful of time. So we'll have two of you answer, three of you
And then I
answer
have another question.
and two challenges. So August, whichever one you want to do.
A challenge was just if you're going to be working full-time, know that this is taking on a part-time job and you might not see all the results that you want. And I'm keeping it blunt with you, but just to combat that, I shared this in my interview. I didn't know any lawyers before applying to LEAP. I had one mentor, she's the retired attorney, but I shared with Cindy and Lila, I was like, being a part of this cohort will allow me to know at least 60 more lawyers, and that alone is life-changing. So that's a benefit.
Jennifer, benefit or challenge?
I'll do the challenge. Also, I had a full-time job and also a lot of family responsibilities. And I also had hobbies and stuff that I really liked and, helped with my mental health. So balancing all of that was really difficult, but you really have to take advantage of everything LEAP has to offer. If you do get accepted, you're taking the spot of someone else who could have benefited so much from it. So the one thing I will say is that I really tried my best. I attended every single thing that I could, and you'll really see the it's a big challenge and a time commitment, but it is really important to try to be as committed as possible.
Lavender, a benefit.
Yeah, so I would say a benefit, definitely lean on your LEAP community. When you join LEAP, you get paired up with a squad, is what they Cindy calls it. But they're just like a group of people who you can keep each other accountable. But also you make so many friends in this program that just take advantage of like all of the relationships and friendships and really spend time building and cultivating those. Like personally, I've made such good friends, and sometimes we'll meet on Zoom and just do parallel study. Like Aaron is is the one who like leads these parallel study sessions. He's amazing. But yeah, just lean on your community and that'll help get you through it, because there are a lot of hard moments where you do want to give up, but just having those people beside you, pushing you, motivating you, telling you you're doing amazing is going to make it all worth it in the end.
Okay, because we have lack of time, we're going to do with Aaron and Ari. Lila, are there any other questions that Ari or Aaron could answer?
Yes, it's how did you feel before being in the program about law school, and now that you are getting close to the end of your time in the 9 months, how do you feel now? So, how do you feel about law school pre-leap, post-leap?
Either
Aaron,
Ari
do you
or
want to go first, or I can?
Literally, all right, whatever. It does not matter. You can
I'll go. I'll go.
for it.
I'll go. Before I started LEAP, I will say I was definitely committed to the idea of attending law school, but honestly not nearly as knowledgeable about like just the process of applying and even what to expect in that first year or second year would even be like. I think that applying to law school in and of itself it can be a really isolating and like alienating process. And there's just a whole ocean of information that really as first gen students, like especially it's unreasonable to expect yourself to just know. And so I feel now many months into the program, I definitely feel more equipped for what law school will throw at me. I feel more equipped to apply this cycle, and I know that I have Cindy and Lila behind my back, making sure that I'm going to succeed along with my cohort.
do
Yeah.
you mean on your back?
No, like in my corner and also on my back. And also
Okay, Lila, another question?
Wait, no, did both of them respond?
No.
No, okay. The rest are more Okay, this one's more for you, Cindy. It's more about the application itself. Is this a good program for someone who is thinking of taking a gap year?
Yes. Yes. I'll answer yes.
Okay, but okay,
Oh,
perfect. And
sorry. I want to make sure everyone understands. If you're applying to LEAP now, that means you're applying to law school next fall. By the way, the expectation is you will all be applying to law school next
yes.
fall. So in September, October, November 2026 to start in the fall of 27.
Mm-hmm.
If you just took the LSAT and you're applying now, LEAP, you've already missed that. That's this cohort. That's cohort 6. So we're a year behind, I would say.
This is a good question. I just thought, does this program cost money? This sounds too good to be true.
That's why I spend most of my days fundraising so that we don't have to charge our fellows 1 red cent. It's free. Sorry, that it's free.
Free 99.
Thank you to our fellows. Jennifer, I'm going to see you, Jennifer, at the brunch on Sunday, but you're starting law school in a couple weeks, so it's very exciting. And to Lavender and Ari and August and Aaron, you've got this. The whole LSAT thing is just a little quiz. It's just a little quiz. And thank you to everybody who attended.